So, always said I'd never do this, but this has actually been on my mind for the last few weeks. And I'm thinking it may be time to sell the Caddy. I'm still 50-50 with the idea. But as soon as I sway to sort of one way or the other, even if it's just like 51%, then that's when I'll make my final decision. And I thought what I'd do in this video is just talk through sort of the background and why, even though I've said and been adamant all along that I wouldn't sell, and it's like a car forever, that I've sort of come to this point. So when I first started doing videos, I basically figured it all out. I knew Caddies had literally zero competition on YouTube. I knew how many searches that they got a month and everything like that. So I knew that basically it was like guaranteed to work as a start-off vehicle for a channel. And then also with the business and the way that was going and everything like that, the thought process was by the time I'd got to the end of what I wanted to do with the Caddy, I'd have not only somewhere to store it for when I was finished, but also I'm kind of like a big believer that car channels on YouTube should not sell the projects that they do. I understand that there's a point where a lot of them need to in the early stages, but if you get into like 50 to 100,000 subscribers, you basically, my personal opinion is that you should be keeping those vehicles, and not only for channel nostalgia, and obviously memories of what the channel has gone through to get to the point where it's at, but also at the same time to basically get easy content, because everybody who was at that point when you did that build, etc., whatever, basically would remember that vehicle. And so jumping back to that vehicle and doing something different for it, so for example, for this vehicle, when the money's there, I would go back and do air ride or do the TV up here like I wanted, or something like that. And that can then just turn into like one video rather than spreading out to a couple of videos and trying to milk the content for all it's worth. And I think basically that's like the reasoning in my head why channels shouldn't sell the project cars, vehicles that they do. So why then am I saying I might sell it if that's my belief? Literally the issue that I'm having is, and this is basically why the video stopped as well, and I'm not actually monetized on YouTube at all. I had the watch time, I didn't have the subscribers, then there was other stuff in life that I had to sort out, and I didn't have time to do the videos. I've been working 7 days a week for years basically. But yeah, basically I had the watch time, I didn't have the subscribers, and then basically I got to 1,000 subscribers when I wasn't uploading videos, and the watch time had, by the time I came back to it, basically the watch time had dropped, so I never actually managed to get monetized on YouTube. So firstly, the whole van build has been paid for by myself. There's been no sort of YouTube money, and that would help massively, even though it would only be tiny amount. Like, I'm aware of how much it would be before anyone's like, oh, well, you don't get that much money. I know exactly how much it would be. I know sort of, I've got all that side calculated, trust me. So yeah, basically the plan was to basically kind of retire the vehicle and have it in the background as a vehicle that kind of has the odd video on it but isn't really like the spotlight of the channel anymore, and then move on to another vehicle. And the other vehicle that I was going to move on to was going to be a Evo 6 Mitsubishi. So obviously everything in the world has changed basically. So the Evo 6, you know, I was going to buy a decent one, and I was projecting about £13,000 to buy a decent one for. I think now you're going to be looking at £28,000 for a decent one, relatively decent one. So yeah, that's basically budget gone out the window for that. I've not got monetized yet, so there's nothing coming in. So this whole build has been paid for by myself, which obviously I'd calculated And I basically calculated to monetize at the exact point when I was kind of getting to the point where the van is now, where I've got like 5 more things to do to it, basically. And I can't really do them straight away. I think the only thing that I can do immediately is the wing mirrors, where I can just buy them new and do it. But everything else, I kind of have to wait to come up on eBay or something like that. And I've been watching these for a long time, and nothing's come up for a long time. So, you know, it's the chances of these videos being done in the van being to the point where I'm like, right, it's done now, like, is few and far between. Which basically means I need to move on to a different car, and I can't move on to the car that I wanted to, although I would say I've got relatively good knowledge of cars and which one to buy, etc, etc. But being that the channel wouldn't be paying for even just the payments on the car, not the modifications on the car, then essentially I need to be smart with how I do it, because, you know, the money's not there to pay for car payments on a second car. If the channel had been monetized and I had the watch time, then fine, that would have been not an issue. But with the channel not being monetized, that causes an issue with money coming in and paying for an extra car at the same time as keeping this one, and I've got nowhere to store this one, because even if I had a garage, I would sawn this one and put it in a garage. Then it's not insured, it's in a garage, it's sawned, it's off the road, so it's literally costing me nothing. It's just the money is there tied up. And then I've got the new car to make payments on, etc., which is sort of no different from anyone else's expenses when they're just got a car for work or whatever. And so that's kind of where I'm at in my head, basically. Alongside that, you know, we went through a whole period in the business that it's really difficult for a young business to, it's difficult for any business to go through, but a young business especially, it's really difficult to go through, because we went through a period of time where we struggled to get stock, and we're a business that needs stock to survive. So we went for a period of a year to a year and a half where the stock that we could get was either restricted, and we couldn't get sort of the full range that we wanted, which then obviously affects sales and money coming into the business, or just couldn't get stock at all. And, you know, if you can't get stock at all, you've still got your monthly expenses in the business, whether you have stock or not. So, you know, all the money that I was putting aside for growth and expansion and everything like that is kind of been used up on just surviving. As a result, I'm back in employment. My partner's back in employment, and we're trying to just take that expense away from the business to give the business a fighting chance. So yeah, I don't really want to let the channel grow, because I think, you know, as it grows and matures and things change and develop naturally, then, you know, I think it's got the potential to turn into a really great channel, especially with sort of where my interest lies in cars and things like that. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Sell the van, buy something new for the channel and move on, or don't sell the van, be severely stretched financially, putting myself at serious risk of affecting my credit file and everything like that, and just try to soldier on regardless, and hopefully that the new vehicle that I choose to purchase, if I find one, because, you know, I've been browsing, but I haven't really like looked at any. I've never been to look at one. I've just been looking online, and that doesn't give you the full story. So yeah, I could stretch myself maybe to get myself in there, but then I've still got the expenses on this, because I've got nowhere to park this. So I've still got the insurances to pay. I've still got the road tax to pay. But then I still have the other vehicle on the channel, which is like the massive benefit, compared with just selling it and then using that money for something new. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. That's what I'm trying to weigh up. That's what I can't decide. I would like to finish this build. I would like to carry on with it, but with the few things that I want to do and the few things that are left to do, you know, me trying to do a video every week on the van it's not achievable, because, you know, do I want to spend 600 quid on some seats, or would I rather wait until a decent pair came up that's more palatable cost-wise? And I think everybody would be in the second bracket there, unless you've just, you know, unless you're getting so much money coming in that it just doesn't even matter. So yeah, just the things that I'm weighing up at the moment. I thought I would share it, just like I want the channel to be like as honest and transparent as I can make it. So that's what I'm weighing up at the moment. That's what I'm trying to decide. I really want to keep the van. I really think it would be good for the channel in the future to have all the builds that the channel does. But whether that's possible or not, I don't know at the minute. And like I said, at the minute, it's been a couple of weeks and I'm like 50-50 and I haven't swayed either way. But the second I do, that's when I'll make the decision, and that's when I'll move on to what I want to, or what I need to do in order to move forward. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week for another video. Have a good one. In a bit. Bye-bye.